Several months ago, I made a video about my experience living through a house fire and how I got through that. Shortly after I made that video, I started calling up fire departments in city and county to see if a victims assistance program could be started for people who have just gone through a house fire. I wanted to be there on the scene if possible, or shortly after the event, to help them go through the process of navigating through restoration companies, the insurance adjuster, and to help them process the shock and grief of going through such an experience. And after talking to the fire departments, I pretty much got the same response, and that was, because you will be doing this for profit, we cannot recommend your services because of liability. And I totally understand that. But I tend to not like being told I can't do something. I'm gonna find a way. So instead, what I am gonna do, since I can't start a nonprofit right now, is I thought I'm just gonna make a video by some chance that someone may see it that could benefit by the information I share. Perhaps a slim, zero to slim chance, but hey, here it goes. Here is some information about what you can expect if you've just been through a house fire. So a house fire may have occurred when you were home. It may have occurred when you were not at home. And then there's all different ranges of the amount of damage. It may be just a little bit of smoke and fire damage, or it could be all the way to being a total loss, or somewhere in between. Either way, the fire department, police officers, and a lot of people, neighbors, anyone that's nearby, is going to be around wanting to help and ask a lot of questions to help you with where you're going to spend the night that night. So that's the first thing I would recommend is, given the amount of damage in the home, realize that anytime that there is fire and smoke damage in a house, a lot of toxins are released into the air, and also fine particulates that you do not want to inhale. So you don't want to stick around there. When I went through my experience, my fire ended up being a total loss, and they ended up tearing the structure down to the foundation. And it was bad, really, really bad. But depending on the severity, you're going to have to decide and talk to your fire department about whether or not it's safe to stay there, or if you need to find another place to sleep that night, whether it's a friend's house or a hotel room or something like that, or hopefully if you have family nearby. Another thing to consider is, do you have homeowners or renters insurance? If you do, good, you're in luck. You'll be able to get some money back to cover for your losses. If you do not, there's not much you can do except to make the decision to either have your things professionally cleaned by a restoration company, or to walk away and buy things new. Now, here's a word about restoration companies. What my experience was is that there were two companies that came in. One that dealt with clothing and fabric, drapes, bedding, towels, things like that. And another company was there to deal with furniture, pots and pans, plates, silverware, pictures on the wall, everything else. Now, what happened with me is the company that comes in to deal with your clothing, basically, they have a couple people, and you go with them and go through every drawer, everything in your house, any kind of garment or piece of bedding or towels or whatever, and ask, and tell them if you want them to clean it or not. If you don't want them to clean it, they won't, and you can basically relinquish that, or you could take it, or they will clean it and you will be responsible for that bill. Now, here's the thing about smoke residue. It doesn't come out when you wash your clothes, no matter how many times you try. It doesn't come out if you leave it out in the sun. It doesn't come out even if you put these oxy-ozone tablets in with your clothing. And even some of the clothes that do get professionally cleaned, sometimes they still can't get the residue out, and of course you're not charged for those things. What I found is that there were a couple things, like nicer fabrics, like dress pants, that when it got warmer, all of a sudden that smell started coming out, and I ended up having to throw those things away. So just know that if you want your clothes to be professionally cleaned, for the most part, they usually can get the smoke out, but it can be very, very costly. So you have to decide if that's worth it for you to incur that expense or not. Then, for the company that takes care of the hard things, your furniture and kitchenwares and everything else, well, Here's what they do. They have a team of people that come in usually the day after the fire, and they basically haul all of the things out and put it in a storage container and take it to their warehouse. From there, they give you an itemized list of all the charges, and you decide, do you want them to clean it so you can take it, or do you walk away? So what happened with me is I decided I just wanted certain things and I was going to walk away from others. So I came in with this list, but then I found out you can't just do it that way. You have to pay for the labor charge up front. And that was a lot of money, a lot of money. So just be prepared. The people that are doing this work, they're in business to make a profit. And unfortunately, they are capitalizing on your loss, on your tragedy. And at the time that you're going through that, it's not easy to hear that kind of news. It's almost like if you want your things back, you have to ransom them back because they took it out of your house. They now have custody of it. And I had to make the choice. Did I want to foot this very, very large bill? I mean, it was thousands. Or is it more advantageous to walk away and buy new things? The other thing to think about is, at the time that you're going through that stage in the process, if you say, yes, I want you to clean my things, do you have another home set up or coming up very soon for you to move your things into? If you don't, they can store it for you, or you can move it to a separate storage facility. But there again, you have to weigh out, is this a cost that I can take on right now of having to pay a monthly storage fee? So that's something to know, and you have to look at all the different variables in the situation and decide. Okay, let me back up one step. Before that restoration company comes in, what happened with me is I was able to go back into the home. They unlocked it for me because they board everything up so that no one goes in there. And a trusted friend was with me who kind of grounded me and helped me to think through anything I wanted to take out of the property that was personal or private that I wouldn't want anyone to get their hands on, whether it's like anything like your passport or birth certificate, any tax documents, jewelry, family heirlooms, photos, anything of value you would not want to be in someone else's hands. So I grabbed up all those things, just a few things, and no one else was going to get that. So fortunately I did that. So that's something to think about. Make sure you take your important documents and valuables out of the property, smoky or not, because you don't want those getting into someone else's hands that could misuse them. The last thing I want to address is the trauma that comes along with this kind of experience. So if this happened when you weren't home, whether you were at work or out running errands or gone for the weekend or on vacation, coming back to something like this and this kind of news is devastating. There can be loss of human lives if the fire happened at night or while somebody was home, if someone fell asleep, and there could be the loss of the lives of pets. And that, whether it's human or animal, it is devastating and difficult, and it's very hard to go through. I lost my pets in the fire, and it's one of those things that you never really you never get over, you never forget. But I just want to say that is something that's very real, that people do deal with this kind of loss from something so sudden and so unexpected as a fire. No one ever thinks a fire could happen to them, or a flood or anything like that, but it does happen, whether it's by accident or some fluke when they don't, in some cases like mine, they did not know really what caused the heater to malfunction. So there could be like freak accidents like that are just unfortunate, difficult, and painful, and they just kind of clean out your life. So just know that if you're going through that, allow yourself time to process and heal, and it takes time to work through all of that. So that's, for now, this is the information I want to give you about the immediate response or the immediate events of what happens after you go through a house fire. And, no one ever talks about this. And I didn't know any of this stuff when I went through it. And again, I don't know if anyone's going to see this video and benefit from it, but I wanted to at least try, you know? I always ask myself, what can I do right now with the tools and resources and skills that I have right now? So here it is on a video. If you know of anyone who has been through this event, please forward this video on to them. It is my intention to help and to help, you know, make someone else's experience a little bit easier. Many people helped me when I went through it, and I just want to help give back. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate your time, and I will catch you next time.